Today I'm going to talk about Turkish catastrophe insurance pool, DASK, TCIP we call it. As you may know, we had two devastating earthquakes happened in 1999 in the Marmara region in August and following in November. We had insurance loss about around 800 million US dollars, but the real economic cost was over 10 billion US dollars. So we had very, very low penetration rate, especially for residential risks in Turkey. It obviously constituted a huge burden on the public budget. As a result of these catastrophes, the government decided to issue a decree law, and it made earthquake insurance compulsory in Turkey in 2000, and it updated its law in 2012. So we have this new law in regulation since 2012 as a catastrophe insurance law. Before we put the system into use, we examined the other examples in other countries as well, especially the one in California Earthquake Authority, the pool in there, and Earthquake Commission in New Zealand. We took the good examples from their cases. Why we needed this pool? Obviously, we were in a geographically very disadvantaged position, so we have very recurrent earthquakes, and they can be very big in scale, time to time, causing fatalities and big losses. So before this, we had a very reactive approach to the earthquakes. We were taking not precautions anymore, but taking some measures after shocks. So this was aimed at as a proactive solution, TCIP. And we didn't have enough funds after the earthquake happens, after the disaster happens, all the losses, the damaged houses, residentials. So we had a shortage of funds to channel immediately to those in need. And even if there was funds, it wasn't possible to reach, to make them available for those in need. There were some political and bureaucratic obstacles that may prevent this. So, and after the earthquakes, some time passed, the government priorities and political, we go back to normal lives and we forget about the earthquakes. But it happens again, and we go back to the square one. So we had to do something. Government, for this reason, made compulsory earthquake insurance for the homeowners. It's compulsory, but at the same time, since it's a very prevalent disaster risk in Turkey, it has to be affordable. So the price is very affordable. The price had to be affordable, and it aimed at risk transfer mechanism, transfer from government demands, the demands to be made on the government to insurance companies, and claims paying capacity was very limited on the side of the government because of limited funds. With this catastrophe compulsory insurance, we built some reserves, as I will show you in the following slides. And we managed to achieve some improvement in risk culture and in terms of awareness of people of these kind of catastrophes. In the face of this kind of catastrophes, they need to be prepared, and buying TCIP, buying earthquake insurance is a way of being prepared to this. We used to rely on very much on conventional distribution channels. So we just introduced this TCIP as a new means of measures of reaching people via insurance. So how is the pool working? This is how it was. This slide shows how it was organized overall. It was founded by the Turkish government with the help of World Bank and with the help of EBRD with their technical and financial helps. And we have here you see a triple structure. We have DASK here, TCIP, the insurance pool. The authority is controlling, and we have the householders. So this is exactly how it works. The Undersecretary of Treasury is in charge of TCIP, actually. It's the supervisory authority. It is tendered to one of the private insurance companies operating in Turkey for 5 years. Now it is Eurekos Insurance Company. There's a board of directors managing the pool. And insurance companies are fronting the TCIP policies in here, and they're distributing via various channels, agencies, brokers, bank insurance, or direct sales. The management company, the pool, in charge of pool, is doing all the operational requirements of the pool, doing the reinsurance, brand management, claims management, and the IT system, the data collection, and PR. And claims operations are also being carried out by the managing company, by the Eurekos Sigorta TCIP, through the insurance companies who sell who are intermediaries of the TCIP policies. The basic idea is to sell a very simple product so that people can understand. So the basic idea is product is singular and simple. What do we mean by singular? There is only one single line, the property, and we have only one peril, earthquake peril, and we only cover residential buildings, and there's only one provider. This is TCIP. This is the singularity concept. And it is simple to understand, because we only provide cover for the earthquake. You can access by all channels, agencies, brokers, direct sales, etc. The pricing I will talk about in the later slides. We have just 3-factor pricing system, and you need only just a few information to understand the product. And in the post sales, you can just call 125 to get any information you may need as a homeowner. So, scope of cover and tariffication, how we price the product. As I told you, the scope of cover only covers earthquake and the following perils following after the earthquake. This is fires, explosions, landslides, but only after the earthquake. Insurable property, only building. We don't insure the contents. We have a very simple tariff system. Just we look at the earthquake zone. These crimson colors shows the areas with the highest earthquake risk, and it goes to the zones with less risky areas. So you look at the type of the construction, steel, masonry, and others. And we have a square meter pricing for the construction that is fixed. And you do have the meter dwelling in here to calculate the sum insured, and we just have the coefficients by the where the location of the house is and with the type of the house. This is a simple tariffication system. As I told you, it must be affordable to be prevalent, to be affordable by everybody, because it's a very high risk in Turkey. It's very important for as many homeowners as have this product. So the product price is very low. As I told you, it's less than $33 in average. We achieved a certain level of penetration by years. We started in 2000 by 4%. We went up to 48%. I think this isn't too bad for penetration. We have very strong reserves built up over time. It's 1.6 billion reserves. And we can say that we have very good public awareness achieved recently. We had many public advertisements, public campaigns to raise the awareness. From the government side, there is a contribution as well. This is 4.5 billion claim payment capacity on the national budget already been spared. And it is very important to operate on a very low-cost manner. So we have less than 2% operational cost of the system overall. We have almost 8.4 million earthquake policies and 7 million homeowners already under cover with this TCIP pool. as I said, it's becoming not a global role model, but it's becoming a model for the territory, for the nearby regions, I think I can say. As I told you, we started with a very low penetration rates in here. This gray line shows the home ownership, and this shows the growth of the TCIP policies. It started very low, but you see there is a jump in here, 2012. It is because a new rule was applied in here. Whenever you have a loan from the bank, whenever you have a mortgage, you have to also have a TCIP policy. You have to prove that you have to provide the bank with your, or financial institution with your TCIP policy. And when you subscribe to gas, electricity, etc., you have to provide with your TCIP policy as well. And these kind of checks helped a little bit more for the penetration, and you see that we achieve a gradual increase from 2012 onwards. However, when we come to the renewal rates, we are not very successful at pursuing people to renew their policies. You see that the renewal rates, again, it just had a little bit jump in 2012. Around 50% of the policies are being renewed, because you once get your electricity and gas subscription, and you don't need to go back, and you don't need to prove every year annually your TCIP policies. So we have this only 50% of renewals in here. If you look at the penetration levels across the regions, we have 7 regions. This Marmara region is one of the highest risk areas, and you see the penetration is one of the highest in here, the Marmara region with the highest penetration rates. And this shows the average premium price is $37. It is very much related to economic situation of the region, because Marmara region is one of the richest regions, it's most industrial regions in the country, and most educated people living there, and so the awareness is very high. When we go towards the east, you see that they are dropping 34%, 38% levels, and in the Anatolian region in the center, it's not very much high in terms of earthquake risk, but again, the awareness is very high, so we have a very good penetration rate in here as well, about 46%. This shows again the penetration by provinces. This slide shows some of the details of the portfolio. Distribution among the building structure styles. Reinforced concrete constitute most of the buildings undercover. And according to the floor number we see in here, and according to the degree of earthquake risk, we see that most of the buildings being covered in the 1st degree earthquake region zone. If we look at how we distribute TCIP policies, agencies and banks come forward as the main distribution channels, and we just have mostly on mortgages, and non-mortgages have also 62%, is, as I told you, gas, electricity subscription, etc. But the commitment is not very high, as you see. The first year is very high, and in the following years, the commitment to buy policies in the following years is dropping over the years. Here we look at the reinsurance capacity or reinsurance funds and retention rates of the fund. This blue lines shows the funds accumulated in the pool. And this green line shows the reinsurance capacity in terms of euros. And this is the reddish lines shows the retention on the fund, on the pool, the retention rates. So this shows in here better. This shows the bottom line shows the conservations on the pool. This up to 350 million euros is on the pool. After this amount, up to 750, there is a spread loss, and again up to 800 million euros, there is a TCIP conservation, and we have two reinsurance in here. And after 875 million euros, we see that this is the government capacity. The government is covering this part. And this is the first layer, and this is the second layer. It goes up to 3 billion euros. There's a rapid growth actually for reinsurance need, and local insurance companies and reinsurance companies are getting difficulty in terms of raising capacity. And the earthquake exposure that doesn't leave us much capacity for other natural perils. So we keep on covering on the earthquake risk. This shows the claims of the fund that the fund received since the beginning, since 2000, and it shows that there are about 500, more than 500 earthquakes happened in Turkey in total, and the number of files opened up by policyholders about 24%, and the pool has paid so far about 50 million euros. We see that people's awareness are increasing after some incident occurs. These two graphs shows here the one earthquake and the situation after the Kütahya earthquake happened in 2011. Before the earthquake, in one province, we had only 7,000 policies, but after the earthquake, we see that there is a 270% increase in the sales in the coverage. So the earthquake, the imminent danger makes people alert, so they go and buy their TCIP policies. And the similar situation happened in Kütahya too in 2012. In here, we see there's a sharp increase in terms of policy holdership. Why people don't buy earthquake? The previous speakers mentioned about it. And Turkish people are Muslim, are very devoted Muslim, and they believe in their faith. If it's in their destiny, they believe that they will die in an earthquake, so nothing can be done about it. So if it's already written somewhere up there, whatever you buy, it won't help. So they trust their destiny, and they trust in state. There's a very strong state culture in Turkey. They think that the government will help somehow. And once a big earthquake happens, everybody, the ones who survived, relieves in a certain sense, because they think that, oh, the big one happened already, nothing will happen afterwards, they believe. But Turkey is a very high-risky area, even the scales of 5.5, 5.6, if the buildings are not very strong enough, could be fatal, and it could be very dangerous. Big losses, damages can happen to their properties as well. So they think that another earthquake will not happen for another 100 years, so they are safe. And they think that they don't need it because their house is very strong. Sometimes they build that kind of confidence. And they fear, or they simply neglect it, inertia, they don't buy it. So, and other thing is about insurance. They think that the insurance is very expensive. And as previous speakers mentioned, they think it's a tax. And they don't believe that the insurance companies will pay when a damage happens, occurs. And they don't know about it. They don't have much information. So if they don't know about it, they don't want to buy it. And they think, as I told you, my house is very strong. I don't need anything, any insurance. So in order to overcome this kind of prejudices, we need to work hard with all the stakeholders in the market. All the related parties, insurance companies, intermediaries, banks are very important as the main distribution channels. Utility companies are very important, the checkpoints, as I told you, when you subscribe for gas and electricity, banks and distribution channels. And PR activities are very important. Local disaster management agencies are very important. Key ministries, academics, schools, teachers, clerics, opinion leaders, national opinion leaders. And we need to market this product as much as possible in order to raise awareness. So, how does the TCIP manage catastrophe? It is very important to be effective and very important to be to operate at a very low cost, as I told you. We have so far 8.4 million policies, but we aim to have about 10 million policies by a means of using effective use of checkpoints. We need to have a very robust platform. And we need to have contingency, very robust contingency resources, and improve coordination once the catastrophe happens. So branding is very important for TCIP, and strong coordination with all stakeholders, public and private, is very, very important. What lessons we learned so far? We learned that strong buildings can really save lives. So we have to we just try to bring some more stringent building codes, like in Chile and New Zealand, and we've seen that multiple events occur after the earthquake. Not only earthquake happens after the earthquake, tsunami, nuclear damage can happen. So we must be prepared for that. However, you are prepared for it. Your models are good. They have their limitations. You underestimate certain things, economic, political, demographic things. Can underestimate your modelings. People have ambiguous expectations from the insurance industry we must overcome. And we need more involvement of government support. And also, operational capacity is very important. It is as important as financial capacity. And we've seen that we have very outdated operational manuals. The procedures must be very simple and lean, especially at the time of catastrophe. It is very important. And we need to be very clear about what is the sum insured, the indemnity limits, what are they? They must be told very clearly to the policyholders. We need a very good collaboration with industries, companies, public offices, and city councils, and we need to be aware of adjusting capacity, technology, and we need to be very well aware of the field we are operating in. So, as I told you, it's very important to keep a low-cost operation, and we need to manage claim processes in a very efficient and low-cost manner, and managing the earthquake process during the earthquake is very important, because during such a catastrophe, we receive millions of phone calls, we have millions of policies, and thousands of loss adjusters in the field trying to assess the damage. It is we have operations center management, they have their limitations, so we have to be very well prepared for earthquake happens. So TCIP made these maps. These are heat maps you see in here. This shows where the policyholders are located. And this heat map shows where the earthquake hits. And this shows the operation areas of the TCIP and the contingency management. So it is very important for TCIP to know its field to operate in an effective, in an efficient manner. This is the change detection. This shows this map shows the before and after shock, the situation of the buildings which were covered, so that they can assess the damage better. So it's a success factor because, as I told you, the penetration has been increased from 4% to 48%. It is a success story for a country like Turkey. As I told you, people are very firm believers. They believe in their faith, and the government will protect them. We had lots of campaigns to raise awareness in the schools. We had publications, and we have these trucks. As you see, it just traveled all around the country to make people more aware of the earthquake and how they can be protected by buying insurance policies. And we had some campaigns, we had some competitions designed among school students. So these are all the awards we have been awarded as TCIP. Yes, this is the Turkish insurance catastrophe pool overall. I hope it was useful.